Welcome to my humble abode. How are you doing on this mundane day? Good, I hope. You want to know a secret? It's one of life's longest secrets, and this knowledge can take you to infinite possibilities and maybe even realities. Hmm. There ain't no better feeling than McDick and a McChicken. Today's story takes place back in the year 2009, when I was only in 3rd grade. It was towards the beginning of the year, so that's how I know I was only 8 years old, because my birthday is October 4th, so this occurred before then. Back in 2009, and for the next few years, I thought I was gonna take this story to the grave, just because of how embarrassing it was, but now I think back and just can't help but laugh, at least if I'm not looking from my perspective. I can only laugh about it when I'm looking at this situation from an outsider's perspective, and that's how I'm gonna try my best to see it when I tell this story. Plus, it's just a minor story, so who cares, am I right? I was originally gonna put this in one of my other videos as a mini story instead of a big story, but I decided to make its own thing, mainly because I didn't want to bloat the other story. Our school did a thing in every class where each kid would line up and one by one would spell a hard word to see who could compete in the spelling bee. Each class did it separately in their own classes, of course. When we had to do it in 2nd grade, I purposely spelt the word wrong because I didn't want to participate. What intrigued me to do it this year was because of the rewards you'd get for scoring 1st place. These may seem familiar to you if you've ever done a fundraiser, but they took some of those rewards and smashed them together. If you got 1st place, then you got a limo ride and got to eat free pizza, and you got a free trip to the fucking zoo whenever you'd want to go at any time. Safe to say, I decided to do it this time because of those high rewards. High stakes, high rewards. You know how it be. Actually, somehow I managed to get myself on the spelling bee team by pure skill. Or luck, actually. They made us spell words that we've never even heard of. I don't remember exactly what the word was, but it was something as complex as constitution. I struggled to spell the word vegetable when I was 8, so, I knew for a fact that I was going to be able to win this thing by pure skill, so I had to pull a little sneaky tactic for me to get on the team, and it ended up working. For better or for worse, I went to the back of the line and listened very carefully how all the other kids misspelled the word, and by the time it was my turn, I sounded out the word in my head while eliminating the incorrections everyone else made. All the other kids were stunned when I spelled it correctly, and honestly I was too. Not that they were jealous and, like I spelled it right, they weren't all, what the hell. They were more stunned because I was more seen as special needs. If you get what I'm saying, because I'm not saying the word. Once the spelling bee rolled around, and I was excited because I saw it as a chance to prove to my bullies that I wasn't such a dum-dum, and those motherfucking prizes were gonna be mine as hell. However, I forgot the legitimate fact that I indeed was a dum-dum in the end because of one small teensy issue. I thought the spelling bee was a multiple round thing. I thought the 1st graders went first in the gym to spell out all the words, and then once that was done, it would be 2nd grade that came up, and when after 1st was done, so on and so forth. That's unfortunately not what happened. When me and all the kids who were competing walked into the gym through the back entrance, my heart sank faster than the Titanic. There were so many people there. The gym bleachers were completely filled. And not just that, there were so many other parents that were standing on the sides of the bleachers because all the bleacher seats were taken. My anxiety rose to a point where I started tearing up, but I blinked super fast and breathed heavily, or I guess like just trying to calm myself down. They had us sit in these rows of chairs in front of this big crowd, the monstrous crowd. But thankfully, we weren't facing them. More, they were on the right side of us. They were facing us, though. At least there, I can turn my head away from the crowd and pretend they weren't there. Our principal grabbed a microphone and introduced himself and just yapped about the rules of the spelling bee. But if you haven't ever watched one or participated in one, first of all, good for you. I wish I was you. And second of all, you're just going to have to look it up because it's pretty self-explanatory. I will say, if you spell a word wrong, then there are no second chances and you are out. I was one of the first people to spell whatever word they chose. That sucked, but at least I wasn't the first person. I was just one of the first people. I genuinely probably would have cried if I was the first because of how bad my stage fright actually is. And, if I went first, oh, jeez. I remember they gave the first kid the word blue, and the second kid got the word plate. And I don't remember what the next couple got. I was number 6 to go up, so once the last kid got done and sat down, I had to stand up and walk 5 feet to stand in front of the microphone. This bitch-ass, hoe-ass, fuck-ass, dick-ass asshole of a principal made me say my name and 3 interesting things about myself. Oh, and what class and what grade I was in too. My mind was so focused on the crowd to the point when I went to say my name, I accidentally said my egg donor's name instead. I heard some of the crowd chuckle and I instantly wanted to just cry. But I knew if I did that, then I'd be a big laughing stock throughout the school. Well, more of a laughing stock than I already kind of was. If I haven't said it, I have said it in a different video, but I was seen as that gross kid, or as I said earlier, special needs. And I didn't want them to have more of a reason to wail on me about, my bullshit. But either way, that doesn't mean I was confident at all. Like I said, I introduced myself wrong, my voice was nervous, literally pitch shifted a bit higher, and I kept stuttering or just slow talking. You ever get freaked out at something or nervous, and it makes you talk in a slightly higher pitch? No, I'm a weirdo? Cool. After I was done saying my name wrong and shit, the principal gave me my word to spell. I'm gonna be real with this. Writing reject was genuinely struggling to type this part out. It's hilarious, but I can't stop seeing my eyes and feeling embarrassed when I was completely typing it out. Your word is birds. That's right. The birds was the words. Sounds easy, right? Just spell birds. It's not hard. Hell, I wrote it down just a few times in the script. But it's not that simple. I have a horrible stage fright, and I was having a panic attack at this point. I was already fighting hard not to cry, so I stared at my feet and couldn't get any words out of my mouth at first. I was quiet for an awkward time. It was very painful. Realistically, I was probably like 8 seconds for how long I was quiet for, but it felt like all 4 of the evers. I finally got a hold of my words, or letters in this case, and I spelt the word. This is how it was. I'll try to reenact it. B-R-I-D-S. Hold on. I even have it written in the script. It says, deep breath because I know you need one. I needed one after typing this shit. The principal immediately said my name and that I was wrong, and then he spelt it correctly for me. It honestly felt like he was just trying to embarrass me. I doubt it, but it really just felt like it at the time. Speaking of, let me put this in a perspective to make you understand where I went wrong spelling such a simple word if I haven't given you the full picture, or you know what I mean. I was panicking because the giant crowd in front of me, the whole school and all their parents, and I had to physically fight away tears to even speak because I was so heavily focused on the crowd and trying not to freak out and trying to actually get words out of my mouth or letters out of my mouth. As a perfect description would be to this is if you zoned out and your body kept doing stuff without your brain actually being there, autopilot, if you will. I think the worst part was as soon as R came out, I was snapped back into reality and knew automatically that I was just fucked. You could hear the tone shift of, oh fuck, I messed up, as I said R. I was like, one of the rules were that once you sang a letter, then it's raps. You mistakenly said one letter, oh, that's too bad, little bro. And don't even think about backtracking or trying to restart because the principal would interrupt you. That's why I continued to spell it even though I knew I had it wrong. I was just the first person eliminated and we weren't even 10 people in, nor like 10 minutes into this thing. I had to sit off to the side all alone in front of the crowd. I know it wasn't like bad. But it seriously felt like a punishment in that everyone was laughing at me. I turned away from everyone and I cried a bit to myself. Gonna be real. I felt so humiliated. I just couldn't contain it any longer. Now, I wasn't bawling my eyes out or whatever, but I was quietly crying and sniffling. I guess that would work, combining the words. But that was essentially what I was doing, just sniffling, crying to myself, trying to wipe away the tears with my sleeves. And my biggest fear at this point was that I was going to get bullied to the moon and back for this. In front of the whole school, in front of all their parents, I spelt the word birds wrong. As the dog would say, that's rough. I don't need to tell you how evil little kids are, those little monsters. Funny enough though, I don't think I ever got picked on for it, not one time. For some reason, nobody brought it up, or at least around me, and nobody even remotely hinted at it, ever. I remember asking an acquaintance in 6th grade if he remembered it, and he actually did. He said, yeah, I remember that. Shit was crazy. But not in a mean way, just kind of like, yeah, I remember that. That's wild. And ever since, it's something that's been a memory my brain tried to delete, but honestly, I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I explained my headspace during it earlier, and I'm sure you're aware if you've been watching my video, but I have a bit of a reading problem. Okay, so this is a mini story in itself. When I was in high school, I want to say senior year actually, it's pretty depressing that happened senior year, but I got called into my counselor's office and the counselor sat me down and was talking about my grades, my reading and all this and that. And he didn't sugarcoat it, let me say that. He goes, looks me dead in the face and he says, if there were 100 students and number one is the worst reader to ever live, and 100 being the best reader to ever live, you would be number 14. That may sound harsh, but I genuinely believe it, and if you've paid attention to how I read and all this and that throughout my videos, is it really surprising? Like, be honest, I'm not gonna be mad or sad or whatever if you say that my reading is shit. No, duh. I watch my own videos. I can tell that my reading is shit. But with that, if you liked the video, then slap the like button harder than Chris Brown. And if you want to see more stories and other mystery content I have in the future, then beat that sub button harder than my meat. Check out my last stories if you missed them, and other than that, thanks for watching. And now please, get out of my cellar. You're just such a bore. A sad, lonely bore. Ho ass.